Selected Poems of Alice Dunbar-Nelson. By Alice Dunbar-Nelson. Robert Frost. Never again would bird-song be the same. He would declare and could himself believe that the birds there in all the garden round, from having heard the day-long voice of Eve, had added to their own an over-sound, her tone of meaning but without the words, admittedly an eloquence so soft, could only have had an influence on birds, when call or laughter carried it aloft. Be that as may be, she was in their song. Moreover, her voice upon their voices crossed, had now persisted in the wood so long, that probably it never would be lost. Never again would bird-song be the same. And to do that to birds was why she came. The gift outright. The land was ours before we were the land's. She was our land more than 100 years before we were her people. She was ours. In Massachusetts, in Virginia. But we were England's, still colonials. Possessing what we still were unpossessed by. Possessed by what we now no more possessed. Something we were withholding made us weak. Until we found out that it was ourselves we were withholding from our land of livings. And forthwith found salvation in surrender. Such as we were, we gave ourselves outright. The deed of gift was many deeds of war. To the land vaguely realizing westward. But still unstoried, artless, unenhanced. Such as she was, such as she would become. Alice Dunbar-Nelson, 1875 to 1935. B. Alice Ruth Moore, in New Orleans, of mixed African-American, Native American, and European ancestry. Dunbar-Nelson was educated at Straight College, now Dillard University. Her Cornell master's thesis on the influence of Milton on Wordsworth was cited at the time. An 1898 to 1902 marriage to poet Paul Lawrence Dunbar and a later marriage to civil rights activist Robert J. Nelson are the source of her hyphenated name. She is known not only for her poetry but also for her short stories and posthumously published diary. She promoted social justice for women and minorities and was a noted public speaker. I sit and sew. I sit and sew, a useless task it seems. My hands grown tired, my head weighed down with dreams. The panoply of war, the martial tread of men. Grim-faced, stern-eyed, gazing beyond the ken of lesser souls, whose eyes have not seen death, nor learned to hold their lives but as a breath. But I must sit and sew. I sit and sew, my heart aches with desire. That pageant terrible, that fiercely pouring fire. On wasted fields, and writhing grotesque things. Once men. My soul in pity flings. Appealing cries, yearning only to go. There in that holocaust of hell, those fields of woe. But one must sit and sew. The little useless seam, the idle patch. Why dream I here beneath my homely thatch? When there they lie in sodden mud and rain, pitifully calling me, the quick degree ones and the slain. You need me, Christ. It is no roseate seam that beckons me, this pretty futile seam. It stifles me, God, must I sit and sew? 18. Quick, live. 141. Carl Sandburg, 1878 to 1967. Born in Galesburg, Illinois, and educated at Lombard College, Sandburg for many. B. was drawn both to America's most radical union, the industrial workers of the world, and also to international socialism. The great poems of his first volume, Chicago Poems, 1914, and of the next several years, some of them uncollected or unpublished, reflect his deep commitment to working people and his strong left politics, including his initial opposition to U.S. involvement in World War I and his interest in African American culture. His portraits of black life mix stereotypical elements with moments of real power. Sandberg would later travel the country collecting American folk songs and compile a massive biography of Abraham Lincoln. One of the most popular poets of his time, his full canon, only now coming into print, shows him to be a much tougher and more challenging poet than his posthumous critical reception would suggest. Readers interested in Sandberg should consult not only his complete poems, a misleadingly titled volume, but also the series of supplementary books currently being published. Among the poems here, Planked Whitefish and Elizabeth Umstead are not in his collected poems, and Man, the Manhunter is. They're only in a less aggressive version. Chicago. Hog Butcher for the World. Toolmaker, Stacker of Wheat. Player with Railroads and the Nation's Freight Handler. Stormy, Husky, Brawling. City of the Big Shoulders. They tell me you are wicked and I believe them, for I have seen your painted women under the gas lamps luring the farm boys. And they tell me you are crooked and I answer, yes, it is true I have seen the gunman kill and go free to kill again. And they tell me you are brutal and my reply is, on the faces of women and children I have seen the marks of want and hunger. And having answered so I turn once more to those who sneer at this my city, and I give them back the sneer and say to them, come and show me another city with lifted head singing so proud to be alive and coarse and strong and cunning, flinging magnetic curses amid the toil of piling job on job. Here is a tall bold slugger set vivid against the little soft cities, fierce as a dog with